welcome to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. I'm Craig Sager, joined alongside by Hayden Gilbert. We have a great show for you today. We're at the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, and we have some outstanding guests. We'll have Jenny Millward with the Adapted Sports to talk about the latest, now that we're into fall sports, what is on the docket for them. We will have JT Thompson, Roswell's head football coach, and Buford's head coach, Bryant, as they get ready to square off this Friday night in a huge matchup. We got our fast break headlines, and then for the first time this season, we will update our Mr. Georgia watch list in the final segment, talking about the top players that have stood out so far and who has the best chance to take home that award. But we'll go ahead and get into our fast break. Before we do that, I feel like yesterday was a pretty fast-paced show coming off the holidays. So let's talk a little bit about some of these matchups this week, some of the big ones. We're heading into week 4. How about one that has a lot of history, the Cartersville-Calhoun game? And when I look at that matchup, there's been times, I think probably 2 years ago, I think Cartersville was down like 28-7, and then Nate Russell led the comeback. There's a lot of history in this matchup.
Yeah, it feels like this is one of those matchups that Calhoun always takes a pretty big lead in, and then kind of Cartersville always comes back. And I think they forced overtime multiple times in this matchup. This is the best we've seen Calhoun entering this game in a long time. I know they won the state title last year, but that team that won the state title last year was not the team that played Cartersville last year. I think they played 2 quarterbacks, and neither of them was Trace Hawkins. It's going to be really interesting to see what Trace Hawkins does in his first game against this really good Cartersville team.
That's very true. Trace Hawkins has been playing outstanding, and I think if Calhoun didn't go through some of those tough seasons where they would blow a 20-point or 21-point lead to a rival like Cartersville, miss out on the playoffs after that loss to Cass, I don't think that would have given them kind of that urgency that has fueled them this last year and helped them improve throughout the season, win the state title last year. We have another matchup with a ton of history also that we've televised. How about Douglas County against Hughes? I feel like Douglas County, when Hughes broke the state record for points scored, dominated on their way to that first ever state title. The only team that we saw really match them talent-wise and stay with them up until late in the playoffs was Douglas County.
Yeah, so I think we were there 3 years ago.
Yep.
Douglas County played really well against that Hughes team that set all those records. But this Douglas County team is better than it has ever been. This is the most talented team I think they've ever had. But Hughes is no pushover. Hughes is one of the top teams in 5A. I believe I have them ranked 2nd. Certain places have them ranked as high as number 1. This is one of those matchups that you just sit there and you wait from last season to this season forward. I believe Douglas County was able to pull out a win last year in the final seconds. And this should be no different this year. It's going to be a great game. Absolutely.
Both very highly ranked. Different classifications now, but them being in the same region all those years prior definitely has set up some history. All right, let's talk about the Toombs County and Rome matchup. Last year, Toombs went to Rome, got the victory. Now Rome is going to be going to Toombs County. Rome is playing with, I feel like, a lot of added, I guess, a chip on their shoulder. They've had some close losses that, I mean, they could have beat Creekside. They had Carrollton on the ropes. Do you feel like this is the game where Rome really establishes itself?
I think they need to. I think it's really hard to start 0-3. I mean, it's not, it has no effect on the season when it comes to standings or anything, but when you look at what it means to that team, to that locker room, a win here would be huge. This is a defending state title team in Toombs County. This is a team that is ranked as high as number 1 in that classification. This is a game that I think Rome needs, not for the season as a whole, but just to get that locker room right and to make sure that team doesn't get in their heads and make sure everything just keeps rolling as it has for the entire John Reed era.
Absolutely. We also have a good one, Cobb County matchup, Hillgrove against Marietta. That one's going to be interesting. Hillgrove's off to a tremendous start. What about the Mill Creek North Gwinnett? We haven't talked too much about Mill Creek this season. A very talented team. I feel like they can crack into the top 10, but just after seeing North Gwinnett this last week, what do you think about this matchup?
I think this is going to be another tough test for North Gwinnett. Mill Creek is always one of the best coached teams. They're not as talented as they have been in years past, but they're still a great team.
Yep. And then we have one more matchup, but this will actually transition us into the fast break. Collins Hill against Parkview. We saw Collins Hill last week got the big win over Cedar Grove. They're in the win column this season. And then Parkview, the big kind of upset win over West Forsyth, a huge win for a program that really needed it after going 3-7 last season. And speaking of Parkview, Zandon Mullins, this is our headline number one. He was named Gwinnett Daily Post Player of the Week after his 333-yard performance against West Forsyth. Coach Adam Clack, Parkview's first-year head coach, said, "Zandon is no secret to us. I've been excited about him from the first time I watched him run the football. He reminded me of backs I've had in the past who have gone on to do some really good things with their college careers. He has great speed in the open field. He runs hard. He's not going to come down by an arm tackle. If we get him in some space to get going, he's going to be a problem." In that game, he rushed 28 times for 326 yards and 3 touchdowns, a 59-45 win over West Forsyth. Hayden, Parkview's a team that has made deep runs in the playoffs. There's no doubt, though, last year was very disappointing. What do you say just about Coach Clack starting to rebuild that identity of Parkview and finding a player, a workhorse like Zandon that's going to be able to lead that offense?
I feel like this kind of football is what Parkview was when they were at their height under Coach Godfrey. When you look at what they were doing, they were a hard-nosed football team. They were going to run the ball. They were going to dominate you at the lines of scrimmage. And I think that's what Coach Clack is trying to get back to. This is a team that I felt like under Coach Sturdivant, while they had a good season, especially in year one, they kind of went to a more finesse style of football and kind of went away from that. We're going to just run it down your throat and just physically beat you, and you're going to have to stop us. I think that's what Coach Clack is trying to get back to, and I think it's going to work well for them. Yeah,
I feel like when they did go to that more finesse, they had Colin Houck at quarterback, incredible baseball player, football player for Parkview. And I feel like he had just elite arm ability, but then when you don't have a quarterback that's going to be able to have multiple years starting, Parkview's getting back to using their athleticism, and I feel like what Coach Clack does really well, he has a vision laid out for his program. He is very transparent about what he wants to do, and I know that was a big win for him. Coach Clack actually started his career at West Forsyth, so we got the win against his former team. All right, headline 2. Exciting news for Lassiter. They improved to 3-0, this Lassiter football, for the first time since 2017 with their win over Northview. This was a 41-14 victory. The Trojans will host Creekview next Friday as they open Region 6 Class 5A play. Real quick, what do you just expect with this matchup?
I think this is going to be a really interesting matchup. This may be not a playoff elimination game, but this may decide who makes the playoffs and who doesn't in this region, with Creekview and Lassiter kind of being on that lower end of that spectrum in that class or in that region.
For sure. So congratulations to Lassiter, 3-0. They're trying to rebuild that program. All right, headline 3, Discovery Flag Football's Jimenez Galzara is honored by the Atlanta Falcons in Youth Latino Leader Program. She is a captain for the Discovery Flag Football team. She is only a junior. And the Youth Latino Honors Program celebrates young leaders of Latino heritage who exemplify excellence, resilience, and have a community impact. I want to give her a shout out, and she will actually be at the Atlanta Falcons game against the Washington Commanders to walk out on the field, I believe, before the game. So pretty exciting recognition for Discovery's captain. How excited are you, Hayden, just about flag football and just what the Falcons continue to do?
I think it's great that we're getting – I think traditionally we see more soccer, softball, basketball when players get recognition. It's really nice to see that flag football players are getting their recognition as flag football players.
Yeah, and just a tremendous student athlete as well. All right, headline 4, the Mill Creek boys cross country take home first place at the Oconee Invitational. The Hawks dominated with 56 points. This is like golf. You want the fewer points to win. Well ahead of runner-up Sanford Seminole out of Florida. They had 93 points. The Mill Creek girls were third place with 104 behind Windermere, Florida, who had 74, and then Edgewater, who won with 87. Tyler Clower paced the Mill Creek boys with a fourth-place finish on the 5K course, 16 minutes and 57 seconds. Teammate Joseph Lee was close behind at 6 with 17-minute 34 seconds. Mill Creek's a team that won a state title in boys cross country back in 2021, and that was a big win for them. All right, headline 5. Florida State and UGA lead for Camden's 4-star wide receiver, Sean Green. This is according to recruiting expert Chad Simmons. So far this season, he has 14 receptions for 179 yards and 4 touchdowns. Hayden, what do you know about Sean? And then what do you think about UGA and FSU both being in the running?
So Sean's that prototypical slot receiver, 5'10", 170, 180 pounds. Really shifty, really explosive. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how he develops as we go and as he goes through his recruitment. He's doing really well, but Camden County right now is blowing out their opponents. They've outscored their opponents by 52 points through the first 3 games. They've scored, I believe, at least 35 in all 3 of those games. So it's going to be interesting to see how many stats he can put up as the season goes on and as they throw the ball more in these closer games in that Region 1 schedule.
Yeah, I cannot wait for Region 1 to get started and to finally see who's going to be able to make the playoffs and win that incredible South Georgia region. We didn't get to plug our game too much yesterday, but we will the rest of the show. Roswell and Buford this Friday night. Hayden, what are you looking forward to just talking to these coaches coming up?
So I'm really looking forward to, as the game, looking for that Buford defense versus Trey Smith and that really good Roswell offense. And Coach Thompson is one of the best offensive minds in the state. He led Lee County to the most points per game of any team in state history. It's going to be really interesting to see just how that really modern offense faces that really good Buford defense.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing both these teams for the first time this season for a full game. I feel like Roswell, their game against Walton, having that late game-winning kick, building a lead early, that's going to be something that has taught them how to win these 4-quarter games. But don't go anywhere. We're going to get in depth with these matchups on the other side. You're watching the Georgia High School Sports Daily.
Nobody wants to hear the word roaches because who wants to admit they have roaches?
I actually found some weird roaches. I didn't know what they were. I decided to choose Breda. I reached out to them. They check in routinely. They're explaining what they're doing. So there's a lot of clarity in the process as well. I think that just speaks to the level of safety that I feel with the organization.
The facts are, roaches are everywhere in our environment. So what are you doing to keep them out of your home?
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
For a healthier future together, look to Northside Hospital.
This makes my dad proud. He went through his whole career as an employee. Now I'm the employer, something he didn't achieve.
We are signatory to IBEW and do IBEW people wherever we go that we feel like they are faster and better than any of our competition.
The advantages of being a signatory contractor is you're trained employees. You have unlimited manpower. It allows me to bid on jobs that I ordinarily would not go after.
Man, you know how to do this? Man, I don't even know. I was flipping burgers last week.
Violation, unsportsmanlike conduct, impersonating a craftsman.
Skilled trade unions are well-trained career pros, not part-timers. Construction is a rewarding and lucrative career with the advancement potential, but you have to do it the right way with the right training. Learn how you can be a pro. Find your career at GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com.
Georgia High School Sports Daily is brought to you by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 613. Electrify your career. And by Breda Pest Management. They handle bugs and critters.
Welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. We will have Dr. Jenny Millward with the American Association of Adapted Sports to talk about this year and what they have coming up. How's it going?
Oh, it's going great. Thanks so much for having me back.
For sure. So when did you first get started in this new position? I think you got hired in December, but was it at the turn of the new year?
Yes, I began with the organization early January, and it's been just a wonderful 2025. We're so much looking forward to this new school year.
Yes, and a lot of what we talked about last time was just the future of the AAASP. What are some of the things this year, as I believe it gets ready to celebrate a 30th anniversary coming up?
You're right. We do have a 30th anniversary coming up in 2026. So we're going to roll out that celebration this fall. Since the school year overlaps both years, we're just going to start celebrating that a few months early. We have already started planning for our 30th anniversary celebration, which will actually take place October of 2026. And everyone can follow us on social media and be watching for more information to come.
And then what have been some of the things that you guys have been able to kind of prepare for and work on in these past few months?
Yeah, so we've really expanded our camp. So this summer we were able to bring in the Paralympic basketball coach who won a gold medal just this past year in France. Actually has 4 gold medals to his name, Rob from University of Auburn, and we had him come out, and we attracted so many campers. It was the largest camp we've had in our history. Had more than 40 athletes sign up and come out for camp. So we're thinking next year we're going to probably have to host 2 separate camps, which is a great thing to be looking forward to planning.
And then what has been one of the biggest things you've learned about maybe what an area that you guys need to focus on in order to continue the growth? Is it the regional, trying to reach out to new parts of the state? Is it the funding? What's something that you guys have been working on?
So there are two initiatives that we have right now. We certainly want to expand and add some more programs. So we do have a grant opportunity right now available to school districts that they can apply, and if they are selected, they will get everything they need to start the program: the sport wheelchairs, the equipment, the training, everything that is needed to start a program. So we're hoping to attract 4 new school districts, and we have several that are in the works applying for these grants right now. So we're really pushing for that so that we can expand the opportunities for children throughout the state of Georgia. The other big initiative that we're working on this year is track and field. Track and field, I feel like, is a great way for us to expand, even for districts to start. If they want to start somewhere, track and field would be an easy way, because students compete along with their typical peers, and you don't have to hire a separate coach. It's still a team sport, but individual for that kid. So we are going to host a training for that coming up this fall at Perry High School. We're hoping that's a central place in the state of Georgia, and we're going to hopefully attract a lot of track and field coaches to that to come out. We're going to have Barry Ewing as our trainer. He is the one that builds our track wheelchairs and the throwing chairs on site to help us and train us how to do it. So we're excited to expand not just the team sport, but also the individual sport of track and field this year.
And then Dr. Millward, I just wanted to ask, what all sports do you all have? Because I think the wheelchair basketball is the most well-known. It's kind of when people think of adaptive sports, is what they think of. But what other sports are there?
Sure. So we start the year with handball, and it's a great opportunity for the student athletes to get conditioned ready for basketball. So handball is our first season. Second season is basketball, just like typical basketball season. And then to finish the school year, we actually finish with football. And football ends up being a close fan favorite to basketball. But you are so right. Basketball is certainly our premier sport.
And then you guys are headquartered in Atlanta. You mentioned choosing Perry as a location to have the training. Is that one of the efforts you guys are trying to do in order to make it easier for the rest of the state to get involved?
Absolutely. We want to make sure that we're accessible to the entire state. Georgia's a pretty big land mass, so we want to make it easy for anyone to participate. And so we're having a training in Perry for track and field, but we're also having a training in Clayton County for coaches for basketball skills. And that's coming up September 19th. It's coming up pretty quick. We're bringing in the winningest coach in Paralympic history to come in and teach our coaches and give them some skills. His name is Ron Likens. He's a coach with Mizzou, and so he's going to be coming in to really have a great instructional opportunity with our coaches here in Georgia.
And then I just wanted to ask, I know a lot of students have never played these kind of sports before. But they want to get into it. What is the best way for them to really get started into this?
Sure. So if there's a student athlete out there with a disability that's interested in this, I encourage them to talk to any coach, any counselor, athletic director, or if they wanted to reach out to us, we'd be happy to help them with that conversation in their school district, because we want them to find a team. Because if there's not a team already in their district, there are many teams that accept children outside of their own district, and we want to allow them that opportunity and match them up with a team.
Then with track and field, I feel like there are some challenges to getting the entire state involved, but once, I guess, the word is out, once the foundation's there, it looks like there's a lot of room for growth. What events in track and field, I guess, outside of throwing, are incorporated into it?
Sure. So we have two different divisions in track and field. We have an ambulatory and a wheelchair division, and we do have sprints, races, and we also have shot put and similar events to the non-disabled peers. So we're excited about launching this and giving it a more intentional effort to expand and expose people to the opportunities that we have.
Then how important have the Houston County Sharks been just throughout these 3 decades, just with how they've been able to continue to just lead the way, be the team that wins the most state titles? What's been the key to their success?
I really think the key to the Sharks' success is that they have both a junior varsity and a varsity program. It allows children to learn the concept of the game at a young age, become conditioned at a young age, and really have that experience all through school. Adapted sports, with the exception of track and field, the other 3 team sports, you can play as early as a first grader through 12th grade. And so many teams don't have that opportunity for a JV and a varsity. They only have one or the other. So I really think that that's another opportunity that school districts have, is to expand once they get started and not just stick with a JV or a varsity level team. Have both, so you have children ready to come up to varsity level play.
Right, and then if they're on JV, they will get opportunity to play rather than waiting behind on the sidelines. Just in terms of the rest of this year, what's up next for you guys?
Right. So up next, starting this Saturday, is our season opener for handball this Saturday, and it's going to be a matchup between the West Georgia Wolverines and the Peach County Rolling Trojans. This is exciting for Peach County. It's their first time at varsity level play. This is their 3rd year in the program, and they're already ready for varsity level play. So we're really proud of them. This year we have 5 teams in varsity, 5 teams in junior varsity, and we have another team, Gwinnett County Heat, that has moved up to varsity level play this year. So we're so excited about handball and getting these kids conditioned and ready. Another exciting thing this year is we have a new team joining us in basketball, and that's going to be Dublin, the Dublin Rolling Irish. So you can look forward to hearing them during basketball season. And just the trainings that we have lined up between and bringing in stellar trainers to our state and really promoting, the offerings that we have here in Georgia. So we're excited about this year.
And you guys, I believe, are available, is it grades 1 through 12? What have you seen just with the middle school and some of those younger athletes getting involved?
Right. And so it's so difficult for children with disabilities to find their place at at local rec departments or Little League. There are some offerings, but not as many as we would hope to see. And so that's really what we see, is just this excitement that they're able to have this opportunity to play. And so children are so excited to be able to be a part of a team and collaborate and learn. And we all know that athletics is great for students. Student athletes achieve more, their attendance is better, their behavior is better, their grades are better. So we certainly want to extend that opportunity to children with disabilities.
Fantastic. Well, we look forward to all these great seasons coming up. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Millward. We'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
All right, we'll be back on the other side previewing our big matchup between Buford and Roswell this Friday night. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Georgia High School Sports Daily. We have Bryant Apwin, head coach of Buford, on the show now, joining us. Coach Apwin, how's it going?
Going good. Middle of the week, just trying to finish off a early day. We usually go on Wednesday morning, so the kids be out of here early today. So just trying to get that done.
Yeah, and Coach, I wanted to just ask you about the season so far. You had one game at home. You had a road game at Benedictine, quite a long way to travel. That game was delayed a bunch. You guys pulled away a big victory and then had a bye this last week. How pleased are you just with what you've seen so far 2 games into the season?
Honestly, I am pleased with where we are. I think we, left some things out there in the first couple games that I feel like we have improved on over these this last week and a half of just practice. I do believe we improved in some areas that we needed to improve from last year, even the last 2 weeks. But I'm proud of the kids. They're being resilient. They're working hard. They're doing things that young kids don't like to do nowadays, and it's be everyday dudes and come out there with a lunch pail every day and do something hard, do something physical on a daily basis. And they're doing that. It's still got a long way to go. Obviously, it's early in the season. I still think we can improve a lot.
Then you guys played Milton in your big home opener, debuting the new stadium. You guys will be back there. What just stood out about the atmosphere and just what that was like and what it meant to the Buford program that you've been with for so many years?
It was a big event. It's been a long time coming from the first time they, broke ground over there to playing a real game, to all the practices we had, to, the ribbon cutting and things like that. It was exciting things to see it develop over the years and over the last really couple of weeks. But finally getting in there and playing a real game was, it was different. Now it was a fun atmosphere, an atmosphere I hadn't had, in Buford, Georgia, except for like the Mill Creek game a couple of years ago. About 12,000 people in the stands and, standing room only type deal and, full parking lot. And, and it was loud. A couple of times I think kids turned around and looked at the stands, saw how full they were, and they kind of got, shell shocked, especially the new guys that hadn't played. First year starters, first year rotators. But, it was a great atmosphere. The whole community, I believe, was out there and even more people because it was a Thursday night game. From surrounding areas, just wanted to see the place and see how it looked. It made it a fun experience.
And then, Coach, I just wanted to talk to you about or ask you about your defense. Buford always has a great defense, but this year so far seems a little different. Y'all have dominated 2 really good offenses. Just talk to me about the defense, and especially that front 7.
Yeah, we got some experience coming back on all levels. I think of the defense. Even the guys, we lost all 4 linebacker starters, but we had about 3 or 4 guys that rotated and played a good amount last year in critical games. So I feel like our experience level is probably better than it looks on paper. We got a deep front, 3 or 4, depending on what we're going with it, on that down and distance type deal. Those guys that put their hand in the dirt and knock the front back for us and rush the passer are special, and they work it in a special way. They work together in a special way, whether they're hungry, from the ones that, already got all the accolades and people know about to the ones that people don't know about. They're hungry about, getting what's theirs and taking what's theirs. So they work together and rotate in and out and support each other in a way that makes them be able to play the way they do on a down in, down out basis.
Sorry, go ahead.
Then I wanted to ask about probably one of your more highly touted players in Tyreek Green, just how he plays both sides of the ball and how y'all kind of manage that workload on both sides to keep him rested for both sides.
Lucky enough, we got some depth on both sides at running back and the safety, and we can rotate guys in and out. But he's a special player. He doesn't want to come off the field on offense, defense, or special teams. And just he's got the kind of motor they can do it on every game basis. But he's a smart football player, very physical, very tough, very competitive kid. One of the most competitive kids we've had on this campus, since I've been here. So that lends to the fact of kids fighting through situations whether it's fatigue or just, a lot of things going on in their head, a lot of things game plan wise, they figure out a way to make plays just because they play so hard. They don't want to, let the team down, let anybody down. So they find that extra gear they need to make plays at any given position.
Then an important part of this stretch of the season, just finding ways to improve each week. What'd you just see from your team after practice or during practice after that Benedictine game when you guys returned from the big trip?
We were tired. It was about 4 delays that night, plus a 5-hour trip all day long. We didn't stay the night before, so it was a long day. Pulled back in on campus about 5:45, so I gave them that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday completely off, just kind of rest. Tuesday was a day to just break the ice and get the sweat in, and we had 2 really physical days on Wednesday and Thursday. And the good thing about that, I felt like they were rested and they knew what we could improve on, and they didn't bat an eye as far as, coach, I'm tired, we don't have a game this week. They just went back to work and hit each other and still had a good amount of work for an off week. So I was proud of the way they came back, and I think all of us, coaches included, needed a day off or 2 just to kind of get our legs back up under. I never pulled back in on campus from an away game, no matter how far it was, at almost 6 a.m. But I didn't want to make the trip again, so we had to figure it out that night. Knowing we had a bye week, it gave me a little more leeway to stay down there that long. But just the kids were resilient in the fact of, hey, we got to get this done. They wanted to play really bad, so I think they would have had a mutiny on me if I would have brought them back home. But as we went into the next week, they jumped back into the mode of improvement versus taking a day off and not feeling like working because we didn't have a game on Friday.
And real quick, Coach, just thoughts about the Roswell matchup, kind of what you saw from them last week against Walton, being able to get the last-minute victory, and just how this game will help prepare you guys.
Roswell's always been a great program, for the last, I don't know how many years, it's been a long time. We first played them back in, I think, 2015 or 16. I can't remember what it was, in the first game of the season, and they're always ready to play. Very well coached. They go lightning fast on offense, and they're very multiple on defense. Playmakers everywhere, and just tough, gritty kids that want to make it a physical game. They're not going to be flashy and throw the ball all over the place. They want to run the football. They want to stop the run. So great, opponent for us to go against, early in the season, just to kind of, see if we can come back off a bye week and execute, see if we can play a physical brand of football like they want to do, and, impose our will on another team again. It's just nothing's easy in the state of Georgia as far as football, especially not, with our schedule and the guys that we play in region, out of region. But they're just another one of those teams that are really good and really tough, and they got, plans they aspire to play late in the season and late in the playoffs too. So they're going to bring a brand of football that we need to see right now, that we need to be able to fight against and execute against.
And then one last question, Coach. I just wanted to ask you about this Buford community that you've been a part of for so long, and their impact on this game, their possible impact on this game when just being there and being loud.
Yeah, that's a thing that's kind of changed over the years. When I first got here, it was about 600 something kids in the school. So obviously you get the whole school there, and it's just still not a whole lot, people with the parents and everything like that. But we've grown a bunch, and the town has grown a bunch. And, as we've grown as far as stadiums and programs in school, the crowd on Friday night has, and they really know how to affect the game in a bunch of different ways. It's going to be youth night for us, so all of our, little league players will be out there. That's going to help us get some more, streaming kids and parents in the stands. So, every bit helps. That stadium's nice and everything, but if you don't fill it up and you don't put a good brand of football out there, it really doesn't matter. So proud that we get a chance to do it in front of all those fans on TV, prime time, 8 o'clock start time is going to be a real funny atmosphere with a really good opponent to go against.
For sure. Coach Applin, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to seeing you guys on Friday. We appreciate you joining us. We'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
All right. We'll be back on the other side to talk to Roswell's head coach about this matchup. Don't go anywhere.
Customer service is everything in our industry, and one thing our clients love is when they call Breda, they get a live representative. At Breda, you get the attention you need and deserve right when you call in. Your appointment gets scheduled right then and there, and you get a specific time,
Recording in
no
progress.
window of arrival. Our staff are your neighbors. They know what's going on in your community, and they're invested in doing it better.
Breda, Breda, no need to be afraid of bugs.
Dang, where you get this car?
You need to join the union.
The union?
Absolutely. You can get 10 of these.
Union construction workers earn the highest wages with the best benefits and the most protection in the construction industry. Find your career in construction. Go to GeorgiaConstructionCareers.com and start your future today.
A journeyman with Local 85, when you turn out, you can be hitting six figures.
Hey, I have your back, you have my back. We're gonna do this together. We're one for all for one.
College just wasn't for me. Let's look into actual career jobs that wouldn't take college, where I wouldn't, lose money and all that. Instead of losing a lot more money at the end, why not make money and make more money at the end?
What happens after you graduate? Will you go to the next level? Will people have your back in the heat of battle? Will you still train like a champion in the pursuit of greatness? You will when you become an IBEW electrical worker. Join our team. Visit IBEW613.org.
Welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. We are at the Breda Pest Management Sports Desk, welcoming on another guest, Roswell's head coach, Jonathan Thompson. How's it going, Coach?
How's it going? Appreciate y'all having me on.
You bet. All right, so I want to ask you about this Walton game. Pretty just great football game overall. You guys built an early lead. You guys had to come back at the end. How much can the team just take away from the adversity and key moments you guys faced in that one?
Yeah, it was a great high school environment. They're a well-coached team. Walton's had it rolling over there for a long, long time. And for us to face that challenge in week 2 and to see our guys not flinch, I thought was impressive. And it just kind of goes to the special group of seniors that we've got and, the program that Roswell's been for a long, long time, long before I got here. So it was good for this program, Team 76, and this coaching staff to kind of go through that. And, up 24-7 at half, and then you look up and it's 28-27 Walton, and you got to go make a stop and get a 2-minute drive and let Bryant go in and win the thing for us. And he did. So it was a great night, one we'll never forget. Glad that it ended the way it did, and glad, that we went through the adversity and we figured out some things that we got to get fixed, and we'll be better for it. So, but it was a great environment. It's a great venue for high school football, and couldn't have been happier with the result Friday.
Absolutely. And then Trey Smith, your quarterback, had a big game through the air, also doing it on the ground, 100 yards, 17 carries. What have you just seen from him so far, and what do you expect from him coming up into this matchup?
Yeah, that's the question that everybody asks is about this young man, Trey, and for good reason. He does it in all facets of life. It doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't just happen on Fridays. He works his tail off every single day. He's in here on Sundays with us. And he just, he works his butt off and he does a great job. And so for us, man, he's obviously the catalyst that makes us go, and he can do it with both his legs and his arm. He threw for 200 the other night and ran for 100, had 3 touchdowns. And, the great thing about it again is he didn't panic Friday, even, threw a pick late and just responded with a great 2-minute drive, hit a big pass to Wills Campbell late to kind of get us down there inside the 15, and just again shows the resiliency of that young man. He got great parents that have raised him phenomenally, and again he's been in this program for a long time, and it means a lot to him to wear the green and wear the R on Fridays. So we're blessed to have him along with a lot of other seniors, and we're expecting nothing but great things going forward. We know that as he goes, we go, and we're again fortunate to have him.
And then, Coach, I wanted to ask about playing in these tough environments. Y'all went on the road to Walton last week. This week, y'all are heading to what may be one of the toughest new environments in the state of Georgia, in Buford. Just how last week set y'all up to be ready for this week.
You know, we've talked about this a lot in our program. I think Roswell's unique in that it's got a group of young men, especially this senior class, that's played together for a long, long time. And I think the good Lord gives us, everything for a reason. And we've got to go on the road through this gauntlet over the next month or so. We won't be back at home until October. And if anybody's prepared for that, I think it's this group. I think they're super connected in what they do. They believe in family. Forget about me, I love you. They care so much about the guy next to them that they want to make sure that we succeed. So, if anybody's prepared for it, I think it's this group. This staff couldn't be more blessed, again, to have a senior class like this that leads us through the hard challenges that we're going to be faced with. And as long as we stay connected, I think we've got a good chance to be successful throughout the course of this road trip.
And Coach, Buford has a lot of talent in their starting lineup, but they also have a lot of depth. I feel like that's one of the ways they were able to pull away against Benedictine in that battle a couple weeks ago. How do you feel like you guys match up with them depth-wise?
I think that it's a well-oiled machine. What Coach Appling and those guys have done over there. We were fortunate enough when I was at Lee to play them in 20 and 21 in the state championship in the quarters, and it just looks like they've got the same kids. They're just new last names. I've got some experience going against them and, seeing the depth that they've got, and they've got a lot of depth over there. There's a reason that they're in the highest class, and they've got a massive stadium and a large population, right? So, they've got a lot of depth. We think we've got kids that are very hard-nosed and physical, and that they're excited about the challenge, and we embrace it. We're excited about the environment that we're going to be in. We know that they've got a lot of great players over there, and, we'll be prepared.
And then what are some of the things defensively that you guys were able to take away from the Walton game?
Again, I think the biggest thing was we were faced with some adversity. We had a lot of success early. Walton's got a phenomenal young quarterback and a young receiver that are going to be special that people are going to hear about for a long time. And so I think for us, we had some mistakes in the second half that we went under the tent, and Coach Waters and Coach Brooks and those guys defensively, they got under the tent, they got things fixed, and they came up with a huge 3-and-out late. And I think, if we can just continue, like we tell our kids every day, if you can fix that one thing on your correction card and keep stacking those things, we're going to be proud of the product that we put out there on Friday night, because we don't win it on Friday, we win it Monday through Thursday. So, I think if we'll just keep getting better and, finish tackles and make these runs that are 6-yard runs, make them 6-yard runs, don't let them be 60-yard runs. I think if we'll do that, we got a chance to be successful every Friday night.
And then, Coach, we've talked a lot about the players, we've talked a lot about the team, but I wanted to ask you about you. You've had an amazing run as the Lee County offensive coordinator, but how has this transition to being the head coach at Roswell gone for you and gone for this program?
Yeah, it couldn't have gone any better. And I think it just goes back to great administration here and Dr. Morrissey and our athletic director, Coach Suter. I've got a great touchdown club, great president and touchdown club. And Roswell is just a special place, community-wise. People that know about it know that the kids are different here, and everybody's going to say that about their kids, but I really feel strongly that we've got a great group of young men that have great parents, and they're going to be great fathers and citizens, and they're pretty daggum good athletes as well. So, great experience at Lee, but I'll be honest with you, it's gone really, really well, and it's just because of the community, the school, and the kids that we've got. It's special, and there's a reason, again, that they've been successful here for a long, long time, long before I got here, and I think that was established, and we're just trying to elevate it and continue to make it elite in all facets.
And, Coach, we've seen a lot of production from Willis Campbell so far, receiver, leading you guys in both these first two games. What's been the key to him just being able to get those touches and be a big spark in the passing game?
There's a lot that goes into it. He's an extremely hard worker in the weight room. He's an extremely hard worker in film. Him and Trey have a different connection. They've been playing together, since they were, yay high. And I think there's a connection that goes beyond the game, and they know when times get hard that they can lean on each other. And I think Trey knows exactly where he's going to be at each moment, which, that's special for a quarterback and receiver to have that trust in one another. That he really came on last year and had a lot of big games and a lot of yards, especially late. He was really one of the go-to guys, and it's just really propelled throughout the course of this season. And you saw it this summer. He's coming off a wrist injury from this past season, played basketball with it, just a tough individual. But we went and played at Georgia Tech 7-on-7, and it was a Wills Campbell takeover that day. And so you saw kind of what was in store for opposing defenses. And again, it just goes back to how hard he works, just like Trey. Again, both those guys were up here Sunday for a long, long time. And again, it doesn't happen overnight. And they're both just phenomenal young men.
All right. Well, Coach Thompson, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to seeing you guys and your team this Friday night at Buford. Thanks, Coach.
Yeah, thank you guys. Go Hornets.
Go Hornets. All right. We'll be back on the other side, updating you on our Mr. Georgia football watch list. Welcome back to the Georgia High School Sports Daily. It's time for our Mr. Georgia watch list, the first one of the season. For those that don't know, last year we debuted the Mr. and Mrs. Georgia football. Was a great event, great celebration, and went to Osmani Croma. It was a tough process. We had some runners-up, Juju Lewis, Luke Nickel, but a lot went into it. And this year, this is the first list we've released about 3 weeks into the season. We got 2 running backs, quarterback, safety, linebacker, defensive lineman. Hayden, what about these 6 guys do you feel like has made them stand out from the rest of the state?
They've just been dominant. When you look at, especially the 2 running backs, they're having all kinds of success. Will Rajecki just dominated Kell for over 200 yards. Amari Latimer's at 551 rushing yards. I believe over 600 all-purpose yards, 6 touchdowns, just both dominant performances. Caden Benson just put up 70 points on one of the best teams in the country. Braden Rouse and Deuce Gerald's 2 of the best defensive players in the country. Jordan Edmonds, the most dominant cornerback we've seen come out of the state in a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And these have been household names, but they've really stepped it up this season. So let's start with Amari Latimer for Sandy Creek, a do-it-all player, guy that can play any position. We talked about that at Media Day. But 65 carries already, 6 touchdowns, 551 yards. Do you feel like with Amari, I mean, if this Sandy Creek team's able to make that run to the state title, it'll be really hard to overlook his impact?
It's going to be tough because, I mean, at this rate, he's going to have, 2,500 yards if he keeps this up? I mean, 500 yards through 3 games over a 15-game season. That's a lot of yards. It's going to be hard to beat that. But, I mean, if Will Rajecki can lead them to quarterfinals or semifinals, it's going to be very similar. It's going to be very similar numbers.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about Will. This last game I felt like was a coming out party. We saw what he did last season, but for him to dominate that matchup like he did against Kell, multiple touchdowns, throwing passes, accounting for just a ton of offense going through him. What do you like about him being on this list? Maybe not a guy that's a 5-star, but just arguably one of the best high school players in the state.
He's just a violent runner. He's very physical. He's going to put his body on the line, which, he has it off from Georgia. Lots of guys get to their seniors and go, hey, we're not going to put our bodies on the line. We're going to get to college and we're going to have a good college career. And I don't feel like that's him or Amari Latimer for that matter.
For sure. And then let's talk about Braden Rouse at Kell. He's a guy that's going to play both sides of the ball. Kell had a tough loss to Sequoia this last week, but getting the ball to Braden on offense and then seeing him lead the defense, I feel like we're really going to see his production increase even more.
No, he is the engine of that offense and that defense. He's just so physically gifted. He looks like a wide receiver playing linebacker. Like 6'3 plus. I think he may actually be 6'4 or 6'5. Just a monster of a man.
Yeah, and then let's talk about Caden Benson. Just the jump he has made this year, how outstanding he has looked a couple games into the season. Just what surprises you just about how much leadership he's taken into this season?
It's definitely that leadership role. Last year he was a really good quarterback. He was an all-state quarterback. But I'm not sure he was that guy that was going to lead this team to a state title. This year, Creekside might be the favorite to win 4A now, even though that North Oconee is still ranked #1 in almost every poll.
Yeah, I feel like anything can happen in a championship game, but I think Creekside is going to be in that finals game. They look dominant. The offensive line is protecting him well, and he is just dialed in. Great accuracy, great numbers, and he's doing it with his legs also. Jordan Edmonds from Sprayberry, he's had a big impact already. Highest rated defensive back, I think, since Travis Hunter maybe. We're seeing him involved on both sides of the ball. But defensively, I mean, how impressive he is just being able to roam and cover the entire side of the field.
Well, they're just not throwing the ball his way. If he's over there, offenses are just saying, we're not going to throw the ball over there. It's why he only has 12 tackles. It's why he only has 1 interception. Offensively, he's been just as dominant. 7 receptions, 188 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's almost a touchdown per reception. Just an amazing athlete. A guy that his stats aren't going to show how great he is just because teams aren't willing to risk throwing the ball to him.
Yep, and they're still finding ways to get him involved offensively. And then let's talk about Deuce Gerald's AJC Super 11 preseason pick. He's put up some huge numbers so far, and the numbers pretty much speak for themselves.
It's not what you expect out of a defensive lineman, that's for sure. 27 tackles, 11 tackles for all, 6 sacks. I believe he's only 5 or 6 sacks away from setting the all-time state sack record. Just a dominant performance, especially last week against Cedar Grove. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the country.
And then I got to ask you, out of these 6 outstanding players, I mean, who do you think has kind of the best chance to continue to be one of those finalists?
I'm gonna put it on two sides. I think Deuce Gerald's is the most likely person to win this if it's a defensive player. He's gonna have the stats. I mean, at this rate, he's gonna have 25 sacks in the season. If any defensive player is gonna win it, it's probably gonna be him. And then I think with Amari Latimer, with all the stats he's put up, if he can leave Sandy Creek to a semi or finals appearance, it's gonna be really hard to beat him.
And then just looking forward to some of the other names on the list. I mean, Caden Benson. Do you feel like Creekside's just going to continue putting up these insane numbers offensively?
I mean, at least through the regular season. That region is not particularly tough. It's not bad, but they're going to kind of have their way with that region, and they're going to put up 40, 50 points a game.
And then with Will Rajecki, I mean, teams are obviously getting game plan completely to try to stop him, but there's so many different things he can do with the football. What do you just see with his ability to just understand defenses and make the right decision?
I think he's going to be the engine of that Sequoia offense. I expect them to make another quarterfinals or deeper appearance.
Fantastic. Well, we will be updating you guys on this Mr. Georgia watch list throughout the season. That was the first one. 6 fantastic names. Congratulations to every single name on that list. Well deserved, certainly. And we will be back tomorrow at noon with another episode of the Georgia High School Sports Daily. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you then.